And we are in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is TheDannySaur alongside my good partner in crime, Liaison, as we saw during the break, and we are bringing you Top Dog with Thunderdog eSports. So exciting, so good things. And spawning in the upper left-hand corner, we have KLG's appropriately named TerraN.
And in the bottom right-hand corner on King Sejong Station, it's the purple Protoss for xIG. It is Curse.
Yes, Integrity Gaming, and I'm really excited to see a little bit of Protossy action, as that is my calling, I would have to say. If I were to be a Starcraftian, I would be Protoss. Mostly because I do play Starcraft and I do play Protoss.
Well, those are two very good reasons, I would say.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
But anyway, how do you feel then from the Protoss perspective about PvT on King Sejong Station?
You know, this map, the second, just the natural expansion, I guess technically the second, it scares me. And it scares me in a lot of ways because, as I'm showing here, this back area, you know, the drops and whatnot, two entrances. I think it's very natural for Protoss players to never totally feel okay about expansions. I feel like xIG, you can expand rather, not willy-nilly, but it's much easier. TerraN pretty well because they have a lot of, you know, really great setups with siege tanks and things, but I don't even feel comfortable taking, the natural, let alone the third. Oh, man, really? I'm a mess when I play. I'm a nervous wreck.
It sounds like you might need some therapy here, Dan.
Yeah, quite possibly. But, I mean, that's what does make this map really fun, is that the oddity, if you will, of the natural with the rocks in the back end and this big gap over the front, that's what makes the map really cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually like this map quite a bit. I think it produces some really interesting games. There's a lot of room around the map for a Protoss player to proxy, if they so choose. Doesn't look like Curse is headed in that direction. It looks like it's just going to be a one-gate expand coming out here, and TerraN's going to try for the engineering bay block, and he does get it down while putting down a reactor back at home. So what this basically does is it forces the Zealot to finish, and it's just going to make expanding just a little bit delayed here for Curse. You'll see the minerals start to pile up. It won't be too terrible, but he could have gotten it out just that much faster if that Zealot hadn't had to finish. And there is going to be a supply block even here as well for a little bit. So nicely done there, delaying the Protoss player for, just a pretty decent amount and setting the tone for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can kind of just throw the other player off, it's a really good idea. I mean, a lot of people don't talk about it, but, the mental side of the game is so key. I would love to see, I mean, there's no way that you're ever going to measure it per se, but, when players, their builds get really disrupted, like here, again, he might pick off a probe, and that's just one of those things now he thinks, oh, I should have known it's a Reaper out, etc. Those little tiny things can really tax a player, and then you start second-guessing decisions, and it sounds really crazy, but even little things like engineering bay block and losing a probe early on can kind of fluster a player if they're not, battle tested. So, it should be a little interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And TerraN continuing to mine gas here, so he gets the factory down early, and see if the starport does follow. In fact, it does. So maybe we'll be seeing some Widow Mine action, or maybe even like a Hellion drop or something like that. Just really, yeah, there's the first Widow Mine. So TerraN, again, looking to kind of keep that aggression on and keep trying to force the multitasking of his Protoss opponent, whereas Curse here is going for the Stargate. He's got 6 in gas. Looks like we're going to be seeing some Oracle play here, Danny.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite odd things about this matchup in particular is a lot of times once you get to, a little bit more bases, ooh, and this Reaper, what can he see? Oh, he does see it. I thought he was going to...
And he gets away with his life. No, why did he turn around?
He was like, I didn't have anything to live for
He's
anyway.
Like, I don't need to live.
My girlfriend left me last week. I don't care anymore. Such a sad Reaper.
The emo Reaper just, sacrificing itself.
There you go. But as I was saying, one of those odd things is when you get into, the drop mechanics of these matchups, if the Protoss splits, perfectly and does really well, it actually puts them kind of far in front. It's just so wickedly difficult to do that you rarely see it. But when a Protoss player can actually split and manage their bases appropriately, oh, they do so well. And this is, again, this Oracle, surprise, surprise, is going to leverage this back area, this cliff, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, and 5 Marines here. Normally you need 6 to kill off an Oracle, but the Marines got the first shot off. The Oracle a little bit late to the party there, getting off its laser beams, its pulsar beams if you prefer. So it's going to have to run away. And behind this very kind of standard long game build coming out from Curse, getting the Robo, getting down +1, getting the Robo Bay, some more gateways, all of that fun stuff, just setting himself up to be in a really solid position to eventually take a third base. And this Oracle continuing to be annoying back in the main base of TerraN, getting Marines, getting SCVs, up to 9 kills already, despite the fact that it looked like its life might not be a particularly long one not too long ago.
Yeah, and a Widow Mine just going off in the Protoss mineral line. So they got 3 kills there, so, you know, not terrible. Both of them now, it's 5 SCVs to 4 probes lost, so no major deal. But if he's not careful, he's going to lose another here. Oh, dear God, I hope he does not keep those units bunched. There we go, we're okay. Had me worried.
Coming over just in time there to kill off that Widow Mine, and they can be really annoying if you don't respond to them before they get that second shot off. Just one shot off from the Widow Mine you can kind of handle and deal with, but if you just kind of let them run rampant in your mineral line, you can very quickly get into trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And checking in on the TerraN player, you know, he's got everything that he's going to need. Stim on the way, combat shields, a little bit far off, but not too bad. I mean, getting those after 10 minutes is not something you, I don't want to say typically see, but, you know, delaying it and just being able to get everything else up that he needs. And now this Oracle, again, this pesky Oracle flying in, gonna pick off, tried to get 2, but he's doing a really nice job of that. Just, I mean, when he first flew it in, it left with 16 HP and 2 kills, and now up to 10, so he's been using that pretty well.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing this the TerraN player, TerraN, going for a pretty aggressive build when it's all said and done here. Going up to 5 barracks on 2 bases. Just now it looks like sending an SCV over to start a third base, so playing very, very safe here, really adding all the infrastructure he feels he may need just in case there's something coming from the Protoss player, whereas Curse adding the additional gateways just to flush out his 2-base infrastructure and then taking a third of his own. So both players playing quite cautiously, neither one really cutting any sort of corners, and because of it, like I said earlier, it looks like we're really shaping up for a bit of a longer game if everything continues to go the way that it is right now.
Yeah, and we just saw on screen a nice little pick-off in the attempted Widow Mine drop of the back of the Protoss player's main base. No big deal there. It was picked off, but that's just 1 medevac and 1 Widow Mine, so not a big deal. Little annoying, but nothing groundbreaking, we should say. And yeah, as he mentioned, both these players now getting a third, and both of them pretty much content just to kind of, you know, hang back. And Curse up to 3 Colossi already, though.
Yeah, and there's no Vikings out on the field. This could be a huge problem moving forward for TerraN, who has seen the Robo Bay if you look at his vision. And, you know, that's just, I don't know, maybe he just saw it and was like, that's bluff, or I don't know. But Curse is certainly building Colossi, continuing to build Colossi, a 4th one being chronoed out as we speak, and this push coming across the map, not only should it just be immediately sent back home upon sight of that first Colossi, but I really think that moving forward, 4 Colossi on the map before any Vikings, you could really be in trouble. A great force fields there, catch a bunch of the army, and this is what I was talking about. Curse suddenly, I think, in a great position to push across the map if he wants to and apply pressure.
Yeah, and TerraN, you can see a little bit, not quite a panic maneuver, but throwing down another starport instantly, and even more getting picked off. Not what you want, and oh no, he's gonna fly. Oh, amazing reaction time there, but again, not what you want, and TerraN falling a little bit behind, and now feeling definitely the pressure that, oh no, I gotta get this other starport up, I gotta get a reactor on, I gotta get more Vikings, because he's got a ton of Colossi, and it's...
Yeah, but honestly, Danny, I think it's like too little too late at this point. You've got 5th Colossus just came out. You need something probably close to 15 or so Vikings, 10 to 15 Vikings minimum, 10 to try to deal with this, and he just doesn't have that right now. We're seeing the Twilight Templar archives coming down to switch into High Templar in a little bit, and that's kind of the Protoss Death Ball combo. The dual threat there, plus additional gateways. I wouldn't be surprised now, comfortably saturated on 3 bases at 69 probes, and a 4th base going down for Curse to just kind of say, enough is enough, let's get this going and push across. And he does get the cancel at the last second there, so he's playing really well.
Yeah, and we'll really have to see here, as a nice little pylon getting taken out. But Curse, yeah, I was going to say 4th base, because he doesn't seem like he's pushing too aggressively, and he doesn't have a whole lot of anti-air. I think what he might be worried about is that if he goes in for an engagement right now, if there's Vikings out, he loses all of his Colossus minimum. I mean, unless he definitively wins the fight, then he still doesn't have very much anti-air left over. And a whole bunch more Stalkers as we got pinged on the map. I thought that might be you for a second.
That was me, actually. Yeah, he's got a lot. Oh, blinking under the medevacs, picking off 2 medevacs as well at the 4th base. And yeah, he's got 20 Stalkers on the map right now, which should be plenty to deal with any sort of Vikings that are out. +2 weapons finished, +3 is actually almost done as well. And Psystorm, very much so on the way as well. Blink coming forward again. Is he going to get this other medevac? No, it doesn't look like it's going to be picked off here. But, oh, the feedback just explodes the medevac in midair. And just everything TerraN is trying to apply pressure here is just getting thwarted by Curse. And, well, again, Curse seems to be in complete command of this game, really forcing the hand of TerraN right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And he seems to be just like one step ahead in tech. First he had the Colossus, so now when TerraN is trying to catch up, trying to get Vikings and things, he's adding on all those Templar. And I do not see, there are a couple of ghosts coming out, but none on the map currently. And Protoss right now has a pretty big probe lead. I mean, you can wake up for some of that with the 4 mules that are down right now, but that nice, comfortable, easy 4th base, and I think Protoss is just kind of saying, like, you know what? All right, you're letting me just absolutely sit back, and I'm loving it. I'm building up the total death ball that I'm looking for, so we'll see what happens now, but ghosts are coming out 4 at a time. I don't know, Liaison, do you think maybe Curse missed a potential lethal opportunity?
You know, I still think he's in a good spot. The Ghost, obviously, with some good EMPs, could completely change the landscape here, but that being said, he has switched over, TerraN has switched over back to medevac production away from the Vikings, and he stopped at those 10 Vikings that I talked about as kind of the low-end bare minimum that you want against 5 Colossi. You really want closer to 15, and so those Colossi with 20 Stalkers out, even with decent focus fire, the Colossi will kill everything TerraN on the ground right now. So, you know, and even with the Dark Shrine coming down, and I think he should, worst case, he should be able to deny a 4th base for quite a while. Just drop 4 hit points away from the feedback, killing off that medevac, and it'll fly away. And with these bases floating over now for TerraN, I think that's going to be the cue, and it looks like it is, for Curse to march across the map and kind of start that denial, starvation, and possibly just have a big engagement in the middle of the map before these 4 ghosts come out. It's actually a pretty big timing.
Yeah, and it looks like, if he continued forward, I saw all those Stalkers, I was a little bit worried, but looks like he's in pretty good position. The Stalkers are a little behind, but not too big of a deal. Both players just kind of posturing here a little bit. Ooh, and I'm not quite sure whether they're ready to totally engage or not. Hallucinated Colossi coming in. I like that maneuver.
Yeah, it's going to make it difficult to figure out which Colossi to target, but the turret could help give that away. They will take that down. Is there an observer with this on team? Looks like there's got to be. There are 4 on the map right now, and here comes the big engagement. Colossi raining down. Huge storms go down on the Vikings and on all the bio. The Vikings are melting here. All these Colossi continue to survive. There's 3 Colossi left, and all these Vikings in the red. He's got to focus down these Vikings. The Stalker is not doing it. It looks like all these Colossi are going to fall, but Curse behind this is building 2 Colossi at a time. TerraN says he needs a pause here. Curse looked like he thought he was getting a GG there. He's up 175 supply to 82 when it's all said and done here. And
I think one of those,
like TerraN,
this player reflexes took over. He saw the screen change. He was like, "Wait, I won, right?"
Right. It's I mean, it's kind of weird, but I also don't think that TerraN ever got cloak for his ghosts. Which is one of those really big kind of potentially game-changing upgrades you need for your Ghost when you move forward, just because you can snipe the observers and then take what could have been a big fight going against you and turn it for you once you've got those kind of cloaked Ghosts just sitting there picking off everything else. So either way, looking at the observers on the map, there actually wasn't an observer with the army. So but with the Zealots in the main base and the Warpins and the units being forced to pull back from the reinforcements, the Stalkers coming forward, focusing down this third base, and all of the units coming out down the ramp, it really looks like, as I mentioned, and I guess we had just spoken about, Curse very much in control of this game. GG's called, and Integrity Gaming takes game number 2.